ಓಂ ಆಪ್ಯಾಯಂತು ಮಮಾಂಗಾನಿ ವಾಕ್ಪ್ರಾಣಶ್ಚಕ್ಷುಶ್ರೋತ್ರಮಥೋ ಬಲಂ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಾಣಿ ಚ ಸರ್ವಾಣಿ ಸರ್ವಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮೋಪನಿಷದಂ ಮಾಹಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ನಿರಾಕುರ್ಯಾಂ ಮಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ನಿರಾಕರೋತ್ ಅನಿರಾಕರಣಮಸ್ತು ಅನಿರಾಕರಣಂ ಮೇ ಅಸ್ತು ತದಾತ್ಮನಿ ನಿರತೇಯ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಸು ಧರ್ಮ ತೇ ಮಯಿ ಸಂತು ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ. We are studying the Chandogya Upanishad with Shankar's commentary, and on the last occasion we were in the middle of a commentary on the second mantra of the Chandogya Upanishad. But today, in the morning, in my Hindi class on Shri Ramakrishna the Great Master or Shri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga, I made a discovery that Shardan Swamiji about incarnation of God is talking exactly these words. Manomaya Prana Sharira Bharupa. These very words. Also, Satya Sankalpa, Akashatma, Sarvakarma, Sarvakama, all these things, Shardan Swamiji is talking about an incarnation. This wonderful discovery prompted me to bring before you that passage from the Shri Ramakrishna, the Great Master. We will be wonderstruck to find it. Now, going back to the first mantra of this Upanishad, first mantra of this 14th section of the third chapter. We immediately understand that we are meditating on Brahman, and Brahman is described as Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma Tajjalaniti. That means we are considering Brahman in its Saguna aspect. Nirgun Brahma, Brahman's Nirgun aspect is to be known, not meditated upon. There, if we say meditation, Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan, then it has a very different meaning. Shri Ramakrishna has described that while teaching his dear disciple Vedanti Swami Turiyananda, that Brahman, the mind has to hold fast to that idea of Nirgun Brahman which you have already made through Shravan and Manan, and then reject all ideas coming to you. So that meditation is more of a acceptance-rejectance form, more of a rejectance form. And as you reject every idea which is coming in your mind, then automatically the Brahman beyond ideas will shine in your mind. So it's a completely different thing. Here we are concerned with the Saguna Brahman, the immanent, all-pervading aspect of Brahman. And there is no talk, last time I told you in the end, there is no talk of Nirguna Brahma here. And that is why it is included in the Upasana, not in the knowledge portion of the Upanishad. Shankara has hinted it by telling, this we shall tell in great detail in the 6th chapter. Now, when we are meditating on Saguna Brahma, easily the mind goes to the idea of a person. A man will meditate on Sagun Brahman as a great person. And that person, in the language of Bhakti, is identified as an incarnation, who is nothing but Brahman manifested. Now, see, this second mantra, Manomaya, in the first mantra also, we made a resolution, we meditate. So I and you difference is kept. That later on Shankar will point out here. And that is why it is Saguna Brahma. I and you, the object of meditation, is maintained, and that is why it is called Saguna Brahma. Brahman are not two. Our ideas of Brahman are two. When we ourselves, all that is described in this chapter on the Great Master, that only when we transcend our human limitations and we reach the transcendent state, then only we can be able to really worship God in His own aspect. Till then, let us assume that this avatar is the object of meditation, and we have to make a resolution. That means we are separate. In the second mantra we are asked, Atah sa kartavya kratu katham, how to make that resolution? How will be that resolution? That means, how will our meditation take shape? According to our nishchay of the Saguna Brahman, of the person called Brahman, we will have our meditation. So, Manomaya, Prana Shariro, Bharupa, Satya Sankalpa, Akashatma. Up to now, let this say, I am taking a portion from the Great Master in the Attitude of a Sadhaka, second chapter of the Great Master, of the Sadhak Bhav of the Great Master. There, you much more beautiful, much more inner analytical description we shall find. Not different at all from Shankaracharya, but much more analytical. Find out. The 13th para of that chapter, second chapter, just different conceptions of the world when looked at from higher and higher planes of consciousness. So, main point here is higher and higher. In Shankar's commentary throughout, except here, Shankar's commentary throughout this world of our Indriya experience is unreal. That world of our transcendental experience is only real. Now, here, Sardan Swamiji talks of higher and higher planes of consciousness. So, this is our plane. Higher, and absolute. So, these are planes of consciousness. Now, a plane of consciousness below the highest, there is a plane of consciousness. There, how shall the whole world and that person in the world, that Brahman as a person in the world avatar, how will he appear to us? How will he appear to us? So, I shall read from that passage. Just as the thing called the world is seen in two different ways from the two above mentioned planes, this plane and that plane. So also a particular person in it, avatar, or a man of realization. Particular person, not any person. That person, avatar, or Brahmajna. In it is seen as two different beings from those two planes of consciousness. Seen from the plane of duality, he is known as a man in the worldly bondage. He is known as a man in worldly bondage. And seen from the infinite non-dual plane, supersensuous, non-dual plane, as Brahman, eternally will be seen as Brahman, eternally free and eternally pure. Okay? The infinite non-dual plane is the highest. Now this sentence. The infinite non-dual plane is the highest region in the realm of ideas. Realm of ideas. Which are realm of ideas? This higher plane, this higher plane, this higher plane, that is the realm of ideas. Bhav. Not earthly plane, nor absolute plane, but bhav. Bhav means ideas in the subtler experience plane. Ideas here do not mean imagination, but subtler experience the plane. Bhav. Bhav is the subtler experience the plane. So this non-dual plane is the highest in the realm of subtler experiential planes. The human mind passes through higher and higher planes of consciousness before it reaches the non-dual plane, which is the goal. While the mind of the aspirant ascends to those higher and higher regions, both the universe and a particular individual avatar in it assume for him different forms. And his previous conceptions of them, when he ascends to this level, then this experience of the lower plane is cancelled. When he ascends to this plane, the experiences of this plane get cancelled. Actual experience of this plane gets this plane cancelled. Previous conceptions of them change in various ways. For example, now see this sentence. For example, to him, the world then seems to be made of ideas only. Manomaya. In the commentary on Manomaya, Shankar said, whatever mind does, he seems to be doing. Whenever mind recedes, he seems to be receding. What else is that? Seems to be made of ideas only. Ideas mean experience of subtler plane. And that particular individual, the avatar, appears to be separate from the body. Not the body, but Manomaya. That individual appears to him as Manomaya and endowed with extraordinary powers. That is Prana Shariro. Or made up of mind or of light celestial, Bharupa. Bharupa, light celestial. So, exactly Manomaya, Prana Shariro, Bharupa, Satya Sankalpaha has been described here. Here it has been described from the vision of a man who is experiencing higher and higher bhavas. And the last but one bhava, you may say, Sagun Brahma as a person has been described as Manomaya, made of ideas only, separate from this gross body. How this happens is told in the Great Master in the next paragraph. So we shall read that also. If an ordinary man approaches an incarnation of God with devotion and reverence, that is that resolution, Kratu. Kratu is devotion and reverence. We know that this person is Brahman. We are devoted to him. We have the greatest respect for him called reverence. He ascends, the sadhaka ascends unknowingly to the higher and higher planes of consciousness spoken of in the last para. Of course, he gets that power of ascension owing to the incarnation's wonderful powers. That incarnation is there. His power makes us unknowingly ascend the higher and higher planes. It is therefore clear that the devout aspirant, Sagun Brahma worshipper, seeing the incarnation, that individual, from the vantage ground of the mental height newly scaled by him, due to his influence, comes to the conclusion that divinity endowed with wonderful powers is their real nature, meditated upon in the second mantra. And that they feign the assumption of human nature out of compassion for the ordinary man. Why this delusion takes place? That behavior like an ordinary man is only his artificial feigning, not his real nature, because we are seeing him due to his influence in that shape. As his devotion grows deeper, the devout aspirant is seen at first to have that conception about these devotees of God, and afterwards about the whole world, his creation. Understand? How identical are the ideas. Saranand Swamiji has not copied from Chandogya Upanishad. And yet, by his own experience of a rishi, he has come exactly to those very ideas which are described in the second mantra. We are supposed to have that resolution. That means I is still there. And we are asked to meditate on Brahman. That means Brahman is an object there. Here, Sagun Brahma, object Brahma, has become a person. And that person is called avatar. And Manomaya, Prana Shariro, Bharupa, Satya Sankalpa is exactly described here. That he is separate from this gross body, he is made of ideas. Don't be eluded by these foolish English words ideas. We do not have any word in English for this bhava. No English word exists for bhava. Bhava is not kalpana. Bhava is not imagination. Bhava is not mental play, as Shankar would made you believe in the places. Bhava is the experience when the mind rises to higher levels of consciousness. Higher and higher and higher, all this is bhava. When it reaches the ultimate, it is called bhavatita bhava or advaita bhava. Bhavatita bhava, bhava beyond all bhavas, or advaita bhava. So these are the different levels of consciousness. And by his own experience as a rishi, he is describing all these, guiding us how a man with a bhakti devotion can reach the absolute. And so, see, and that is why when in the morning we read this in the Hindi class, it came as a wonderful discovery to me. I have not found it. I have not made it. I have discovered it. That this is similar to what we are reading in the Chandogya Upanishad. This is same as we are reading in the Chandogya Upanishad from a different language. The language of bhava. Understood, please? Shall we proceed now? So we are reading the proceed means I will read again the commentary on the second mantra from the beginning. Though we had come up to a point, I will read again from the beginning of the second mantra. All that chapter, if you can, please read it. Please read that chapter, second chapter, from Sadhak Bhav, second volume of second part inside of Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga in any language. English is a poor vehicle for spiritual ideas. And so, we read the commentary. Manomaya, Manomaya, Manaprayaha, Manute Anenaiti Mana. What your mind does is Mana, Tattva, Tat Swavruttya, Visheshu Pravrittam Bhavati. By its own way, it goes to an object. Tena Manasa Tanmaya. By that mind, he is Manomaya. By that mind is Manomaya. Tatha Pravrittaiva Tat Prayo Nivrittaiva Cha. As mind goes, he goes. As mind recedes, he recedes. So, that is that person is made of ideas. No, that person is made of bhavas. Understood this point? Identical? That as mind, not the body, not hand and legs, mind. As mind goes and as mind recedes, he appears to go and he appears to recede. That is Manomaya, first point. Tat prayo nivrittaiva cha. Ata eva. Therefore, prana sharira. Here you understand now. Second point. Prano lingatma. Shankar has been forced to comment according to the real thing. Because prana has hundreds of connotations in the scriptural language. Here prana is lingatma. That means the subtle body. Prana is lingatma, means the subtle body. Vijnana kriya shakti dvaya sammurchita. Made up of two powers. I know and I do. Incarnation, God, Saguna Brahma, has these two ideas. I know and I do. But not like ours. Satya Sankalpa. Satya Sankalpa, please add. Yo vai prana sa prajna yava prajna sa prana iti shrute. Sa shariram yasya. That is his personality, not body. That is his personality. Manomaya prana sharira neta iti cha shrutyantarat. And later on we'll get Satya Sankalpa. I know and I do as idea comes in my mind. Not forced by you and he or she. Whatever idea comes in my mind that happens in the world, that is Satya Sankalpa. Satya Sankalpa means whatever happens in my mind, that happens in the outside world. Satya Sankalpa. So he is all powerful, omnipotent. Bharupa, we have seen that last word as shining light. That person is seen as nothing but made of mind and shining light. So this is Bharupa. Bha means light. Bha itself is its Rupa. That means the person is seen as shining light. Deepti Chaitanya Lakshanam Rupam Yasya Sa Bharupa. What can Shankar say? Deepti, shine. Chaitanya Lakshana Deepti. Light is not light there. Consciousness in the form of light. Light indicating consciousness. That is its reality. That is what it says. That is what the incarnation appears to be Satya Sankalpa. Satya avitatha sankalpa yasya soyam Satya Sankalpa. His sankalpas na yatha sansarina iva anekantika phala sankalpa Ishwarasya ityar. Ishwara word is used. Incarnation is used. Ishwara, not Parabrahma. That is our difference from us. Our sankalpas fail or succeed, not depending upon us. But his sankalpas never fail. He is the Lord. Anrutena mithya phalatva hetuna pratyudatvat sankalpa. Anrutena means our consciousness is unreal. Our lower plane consciousness is unreal. And so, whether it succeeds or not is not dependent upon us, is dependent upon his will. Mithya phalatvam vakshati amrutena pratyuda iti. Understood? Akashatma. Here Atma means Akasha iva Atma swarupam yasya. So what is like Akasha? What is like Akasha? Sarvagatatvam, Sukshmatvam, Rupadihinatvam cha Akashatullata Ishwarasya. Ishwar is all pervading. Ishwar is subtlest. Ishwar has no form of its own. That is stretching. Nirakar. But here we are describing a person who is Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta Sat Akashatma Bharupa Akashatma. So here Ishwar is taken as Nirakar. Alright, maybe. But what about this Sakar Ishwar? What about the incarnation? Who is Sakar? And yet is fulfilling all these conditions described about the Saguna aspect of Ishwar. So, that may be some people like Nirakar because they are proceeding through the Jnana medium. Here, Sardan Swami just described procedure through Bhakti medium. That much difference is there. For those who are proceeding from a Jnana medium, it is Nirakar. There is nothing called Nirakar. Unspecified Akar. Unspecified form. Akash also has a form. Definitely, compared to Nirguna Brahman, Akash also has a form, but not specified. Not like water, earth, or this or that, not specified. But it has a form. Then only we can feel it. We may not see it, but we can feel it. So, for a Jnani, it is Nirakar. For a Bhakta, it has a definite form called Avatar. So, yasya sa akashatma sarvatvam, sarvagatatvam, sukshmatvam, rupadihinatvam cha akashatulyata ishwarasya. So, I have described the sameness and the difference due to Jnana mode and Bhakti mode. Now we come to Sarva Karma. Okay. Sarva Karma, omnipotent, Satya Sankalpa and Sarva Karma, please join. Sarvam Vishwam Tena Ishwarena Kriyate. Here Shankar says, Sarva Karma does not mean this or that. The very creation of the world is by him. Iti Jagat Sarvam. So world itself is called Sarvam. Karma Asya. That is his work, so it's called Sarva Karma. Sarva Karma means creation, preservation and destruction of the whole world. Not particular words. Okay. But Satya Sankalpa also is there. Sai Sarvasya Karta iti Shrutehe from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He is the maker of all world. Now comes the point where yesterday we stumbled. Sarva Kama. Sarva Kama. This can be split in two different ways. One is called Bahuri Samas. That means neither Sarva nor Kama. That person to whom belongs all the desires is Sarva Kama. Sarva Kama does not mean Sarva, does not mean Kama. Sarva Kama is a person to him all desires belong. So, understood? This is called Bahuri. Neither first, neither second, but some other meaning is taken. That is called Bahuri. Sarva Kama, Shankar defines as to whom all desires belong. He is not desire. He is not desire. Because Shankar will tell us desire is a bound something. We read in the Leela Prasanga, desires are products of something. And therefore, he is not desire. So the meaning, that is called Karma Dharaya Samas. A Samas where first word is adjective of the second word. Sarva Kama. All desires are he. All desires are he. That is called Karma Dharaya Samas. And he, to him, all desires belong is Bahuriya Samas. Okay? Sarve Kama, Shankar adds there. Dosha Rahita. All desires should not mean all desires. Bad desires do not belong to Ishvara. Ishvara never has a bad desire. Bad desires come into existence only due to the Maya factor, only due to our, you and my and everybody's faulty mind. When that desire is expressed through these faulty minds, it becomes bad, not otherwise. So, automatically, Sarve Kama should mean Dosha Rahita, without fault. Asya, his, iti Sarva Kama. Now to explain that desires mean desires without fault, to explain, support that desire means desire without faults, he brings in a Gita quotation. Shankar believes in the Gita just as an authority, though it has come out of the mouth of an incarnation. And there he has explained the incarnation as if it is the appearance of the same reality. Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi iti smrute. From the Gita, desires not opposed to virtue. Dharma aviruddho. Desires not opposed to virtue. Bhuteshu. In people, whatever desire is not opposed to virtue, that I am. Now, that I am, in order to explain the goodness of desires in God, Shankar has brought this Gita quotation. But there he has split it as Bahuri Samas. In the Gita it appears it is Karma Dharaya Samas. I am the desire. He does not say that desire belongs to me. He would have made Bahuri. There he says, I am the desire. So this produces a conflict between desires belong to me, good desires belong to me. For that good desire sake, Shankar has brought the quotation for Gita. But as soon as Gita quotation is brought, there we feel Bahuri does not apply. I am the desire, that is what he says. Nanu kamo asmi, I am the desire. Iti vachanat, because this is the talk, iya Bahuri na sambhavati. There in the Gita, Bahuri is not possible. And therefore, here also Bahuri is not possible. Sarva Kama iti. So Sarva Kama here. In the Gita, directly, I am Kama. So no Bahuri. So if you bring that here, then Sarva Kama, also Bahuri don't take. Not possible. To this Shankar replies, Na, Kamasya Kartavyatvat. Kama is something, object to be done, to be acted upon. Kamasya Kartavyatvat. That means when a desire arises, duty comes. When a desire arises, duty comes. Swamiji has explained in his book Karma Yoga. What you call duty, my duty is nothing but a bondage. Those people have duties. The duties will never end till the end of their life. Like a horse, it is running and running and running till it drops dead. That is how Swamiji has described duty. So duty means I. And so, कर्तव्यत्वात् शब्दादिवत् पारार्थ प्रसंगाच्च देवस्य. Shabdadivat. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasagandha are products. Kartavya also is a product of attachment. Shabdadi is product of Maya. Kartavya is a product of attachment. Please remember, we are dealing with very, very subtle fields. Devasya. God's products are Shabdadi. God's product is Kartavya. Tasmad yatha iha sarva kama iti Bahuri. So take the reverse. Here sarva kama is a Bahuri Samaj. Tatha kamosmi iti smrutyartho vacha. So in the Gita also please read Bahuri, not Karmadharaya. Though it is said, I am all the desires, don't take it in that light. All desires belong to me. And their good desires are clearly mentioned. Understood? Sarva kama, all desires. All desires belong to who? That is Ishvara. All desires Shankar specifies by calling all good desires. Because bad desires belong to us individuals with faults. To support that, he brought Gita quotation, Kamosmi dharma aviruddho bhuteshu. Now that put the doubt that there sarva kama is karmadharya, adjective. I am the desires. Then how can you apply it to here? Here also you will have to say karmadharya. I am all the desires. So, Shankar says, no. There also, it is Bahuri. God is not desire. Because desire is a product, just like objects. Shabda divat, Shabda sparsha, Rupa rasagandha are objects. They are derived from God because of his appearance. Maya. So, Kartavya is also an object produced out of attachment of individuals. Otherwise, there is nothing called duty. You see, when the mind rises higher and higher, duties change or not? In the gospel, if you read, some devotee was telling me again and again, the utmost duty of a man is to realize God. Utmost duty of a man is to realize God. He should see his life in that light. This duty, that duty is all due to attachment of the mind. So, here, same thing, that though word is sarva, Kamosmi, I am the Kama. Don't take it in that light. Understood? To support goodness of desires, he brought Gita quotation. But Gita quotation produced that doubt in us that there it is, Karmadharaya Samas. So here also it should be Karmadharaya Samas. That means I am the desires. Shankar says no. Here it is Bauri. So read, there also Bauri. There also God is not the desires. God has desires. Understood this difference? So goodness take from there to here. But Karmadharaya don't take from there to here. In that matter, take Bauri from here to there. That is the purport of the Shankar Bhashya. That though for supporting goodness of desires, you have brought Gita quotation, but in Gita quotation, it appears, I am the desires. So why not take that also here? To that Shankar has analytical approach. And so he says, for goodness, bring from there to here, but Karmadharaya don't bring from there to here, rather take Bauri from here to there. And there also understand, God is not desire. Desire is always a product, just like the objects of the world. Of what it is a product? I brought Swamiji to tell you, desire is a product of attachment. If there is no attachment about anything in the world, can there be a duty? Swamiji has said in olden times there was no marriage. Then there was no duty between husband and wife. So, when this attachment comes, then duty comes. Why are you doing this? It is my duty to the family. You have created the family out of your desire. Therefore, you have brought the duty on you. I have duty towards my forefathers that I should bring out a progeny. That thing applies to a man only when he marries for the sake of enjoyment. Then only all the forefathers' obligation comes to you. If you are not married, if you have not attachment to a woman or woman to a man, you have no duties. Where only duty is to realize God. So all this we read in the light of this discussion between Bauri and Karmadharaya here. Clear? Duty is a product of attachment. Higher and higher duties, higher and higher attachment. Now, take for example, only example. People have duty towards their nation and they give up all duties to the family and all that for the sake of the nation. Do they do not do it? Do we not glorify them? So here duty toward the supreme cause called God is much real, much higher, much leading a man to higher level than this so-called duties due to lower attachment. Example, duty to the nation, duty to my clan, duty to my caste, duty to my dharma, duty to my varna, duty to my ashram. So, duty is a very relative word. Okay? So, we have dealt with this Sarva Kama through lives of and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. Duty or the concept changes as per the man. Holy Mother's example. Somebody goes to her and says, should I marry or not? She said, you must marry. Everything is double. The lentil and the pulse, there are two parts. So everywhere there are two parts. And so you must get a wife. When some other person says, I don't want to marry, I want to become a sadhu, should I become or not? She says, yes, become a sadhu. Why will you burn yourself in this worldly life? See, according to the man's mind, she has dealt with this. So, I think this word Sarva Karma and the discussion by Shankaracharya has given us a great light in our life. All practical. Sarvagandha. We come to the next word now. Sarvagandha. Same thing. All good smells. Add good here. Sarve gandha sukhakara asya gandha. His smells, which please us. Good smells. Soyam sarvagandha. Example, punyo gandha prithvivyam iti smrute. Earth is there, burnt in summer. First raindrop comes and you get a holy, beautiful smell. Now you get bad smells also. They are due to mixture of compounded faulty things. Therefore you get bad smells. Okay? Tatha rasa api vidneya. Taste also like that. Purest taste, water or nectar. Apunya gandha rasa grahanasya papma sambandha nimittatva shravanat. Because the Shruti tells us that unholy smells, unholy tastes are due to contact with faulty lives of the individuals, faulty causes. Papma sambandha nimitta, due to sinful nature of individuals. Tasmat tena ubayam jigrati suravicha durgandicha papmana hi esha viddha. Chandogya Upanishad will tell us that he smells good things only. Where read this? Where read this? Man wanted to do Udgita by his nose. Special importance to the nose, so the Asuras attacked him and he started smelling good and bad things. If he would have been without attachment to the nose, then he would have always been pure, just like in the case of his main prana. So, tena uvayam jagrati suravicha durgandimcha papana hi esha viddha, because he has been attacked with sin. Iti shruti. Nacha papma sansarga ishwarasya. Ishwar does not have any contact with sin. He is non-particular. Same. Samoham sarvabhuteshu. Avidyadi doshasya anupapatte. The ignorance which hides the nature of things is not possible in God, and therefore God is not having any connection with sinful tendencies. Understood? This is from a very deeper nature of God. That Ishwar cannot be associated with sin because the cause of sin is wrong knowledge, which is absent in God. Great Master is telling the same thing. This universal mind does not bind the vision of that person with the universal mind. Idea in the universal mind, for us, it is a different thing, subject and object consciousness, therefore it binds us, but does not bind God. Thakur has given a simpler expression that poison is in the very tooth of a snake. By that tooth he bites, people die, he does not die. So, avidya is in relative life, not in God. Sarvamidam jagat abhyatto abhivyapta. Abhyatto means totally pervaded. Atatter vyapti arthasya kartari nishtha. Atati is the verb And when it becomes the subject, that kta is added, it becomes atta. Atta, kta is added because it becomes subject. Kartari nishtha. So, the meaning is, he is all pervading. He, all pervading. Okay? Because he is the maker of all, so he is all pervading. Tatha avaki. Uchyate anaya iti vak, vageva vak, vakah. We talk with that organ, so it is called vak halanta. Half. And that half itself is full, vaka. Yadva vacher gantasya karane vaka. Or the instrument through which we speak is vak. Either uchyate anaya, by this he speaks, or that instrument with which he speaks. He speaks, or with the instrument he speaks, he is called Vaki. So Vaki is a person with an instrument, like an individual, for doing things. Na Vaki, Avaki. He is not Vaki, means Vakya Pratisheda atra upalakshanartha. That means absence of instrument is here indicative of absence of all instruments. God is all doer. He produces the world. Does not mean he requires hands and feet and nose and mouth to produce the world. Understood? He does not require any instrumentality. He is Satya Sankalpa. As the wave comes in his mind, the world is created. Gandha rasadi shravanad ishwarasya praptani granadini karanani gandhadi granaya. Because we have talked about good smell and good taste, so we felt that he requires nose and tongue to taste. Ato vak pratishedena, and so vak is denied. He does not require tongue or nose to taste. Vak is denied, so all indriyas are denied. Pratishidyante tani, all other indriyas are also denied, negated. Apani pado javano grahita pashyati achakshu sashrunoti akarana shota shotar is a beautiful thing. He smells everything. He does not require nose. He acts everything. He talks everything. He does not require a tongue. He eats everything. He does not require a mouth. He does not require hands and feet. He holds everything. He walks everywhere. Javano, he goes very fast, not because he has legs. He holds everything, not because he has hands. Pashyati achakshu, he sees everything, does not mean he has eyes. Sa shrunoti akarana, without ears, he hears. He is the consciousness in all these actions. He does not require instruments. This very thing, the bhakti language says, God does not require this or that. Actually, from knowledge point of view, Shankara has described, Upanishad has described that he is doing everything, he is experiencing everything, does not mean he requires instruments to do that. Because he is all, so he experiences. Because he himself is all the objects, he experiences. Jnaneshwara has described this in inimitable language. He says how to describe. I am tasting jaggery. Don't think, I tongue tasting. Don't think like that. Suppose I am the jaggery and I am tasting myself. Then what will you do? I am the jaggery and I am tasting myself. What will you do? That means God is all pervading and He is experiencing as subject, instrument and objects. He says, ears listen to the sound. Don't think like that. Sound itself listens to the sound. Imagine like that. So, no difference between subject, instrument and object. One reality appearing as all three. He has given a beautiful example. In the Ellora cave, one single rock has been carved into worshipper, worship, and all the paraphernalia of worship. So, if the rock is conscious, what it will be conscious? I appear to be three, but I am actually one. So that should be the experience. Don't think God, Indriyas, objects. No. God Himself objects, God Himself Indriyas, God Himself experiencer. So not in the subject, object, instrument way. Ityadi mantra varnat. Shata Upanishad. Okay. Anadaro asamrama. Anadaro means he has no attraction to a particular thing. That is the meaning. Other here does not mean respect or love. Other means craving for a new thing. He does not have. Aprapta prapta hui samrama. So this comes when only something is not yours and you want it to be yours, then only this adara comes. Adara comes only when you want something which is not yours. Anapta kamasya. This is for a person who desires not being fulfilled. Natu apta kamatvat, because he has all his desires fulfilled. Nitya truptasya, always is satisfied Ishwar. Ishwar is always satisfied. We sometimes say Shiva is quickly satisfied. He is already satisfied. Whether you give something or do not give anything, he is always satisfied. So these are only relative talks. Apta kamatvat nitya truptasya ishwarasya samramo asti kvachit. So for him there is no attraction. For him there is no attraction. He is all himself. This should be your resolve. Like this should be your meditation. Though Ishvara is taken as an object, but with these qualities. So this meditation is leading you almost to the knowledge point. Is preparing your mind in such a way that the next step will be realization. So this is chapter on worship, but this is the highest worship given in the name of Shandigila. Because this worship will prepare your mind to realize God. Next step will be, your mind is now fully ready. Your mind filled with God, Sagun aspect of Ishvara. One step there, you will go to Nirgun. That is what is the Shandilya Vidya. So we took only the second mantra today. We could not take the third or fourth mantra. We'll do it on next Wednesday. So, Great Master helped us to link between Sagun Brahma and Avatar, and how by the power of that Avatar we come to this realization, but according to Jnani, by your self-effort also, with this proper resolve, you can reach that. Bhakta is being drawn by God. You have to do your own self-effort and meditate like that. with resolve firm, then you will also reach that. Om Apyayantu mamangani vak pranashakshushrotram atho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahma upanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastu anirakaranam me astu tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharma te mahi santu om shanti shanti shanti. हरि ओम तत्सत श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।